जाने समझे ज्ञान वास्तु शास्त्र का, पृथ्वी अग्नि जल वायु स्थान कहाँ आकाश का।
ओम वास्तु पुरुषाय नमो नमः।
खुद ही समझो खुद ही जानो, कहता है क्या घर आपका।
But your design should be such that it allows the staircase, the riser to be less than 6 inches, and the tread should be more than 10 inches. When I design bungalows, I give the porch, car porch, and a very, very gracious and spacious entrance foyer, and wherein I try to keep the tread to up to 12 inches to 15 inches, and I try to keep the riser at 4 inches only, because such an arrangement, such a tread and a riser gives a lot of ambience to the building and gives grace to the building, and it adds to the elevation of the building. It adds to the positive aura of the building. It is a very, very good thing to have a 4-inch riser and a 12-inch or 15-inch tread in your house, in a bungalow. If it is a small house, it will look very odd, but if it is a huge bungalow, it will look wonderful. So we try to give this.
Okay. So Mr. Gyani, now we can move on to the next topic, and now
Yes.
we can discuss about the floors of the house, because that is again another.
So flooring, you have marble,
Yeah.
you can go for it.
Tiles.
You have vitrified tiles, you can go for it. You have wooden floors, you can go for it. Nothing wrong. Any flooring is allowed, nothing wrong with it. You take ceramic, you take wood, you take vitrified, you take marble, you take any other stone, absolutely no problems. You take carpet, absolutely no problem. You can go for carpet also.
Okay.
Right? So absolutely, it says, the science says locally available material, right? So locally available material means whatever you like out of these, you can go for it, and there is not a problem, right? So anything is allowed. Science does not restrict a particular type of flooring.
Okay.
So anything is allowed.
Okay. So this is pretty cool. Now, Mr. Gyani, we have learned many things about a house, but the most important thing in a house is a prayer room also.
Oh yes.
So, Mr. Gyani, tell us, where should we keep our prayer room?
Supposingly this is your house. This is your north, this is your east. Jupiter is here,
Yeah.
means God is here. So you can keep in the east of northeast your
Okay.
prayer room. It is okay when you are sitting in your prayer room, your face should be east, and the God should be facing west.
West.
Okay. Now this happens to be your one room, this happens to be your second room, third room. Now if you, for whatever the reason, if you cannot keep it here, then you can keep it in this second room, again in the northeast of this room.
Yeah.
However, if you cannot keep it here, then you can keep it here also.
Okay.
Okay.
In the third room.
Yeah. Or you can keep in the east, facing east.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Ri- If not, then in the west, you can keep it facing west.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you can keep it in the center of the house, facing either east or
or
west.
west.
Right. But this is north and this is south.
South.
After having said this, there is one more rule, that you cannot have your prayer room in the south of the house. So this is the northern hemisphere,
Okay.
and this is the southern hemisphere.
Okay.
Now you cannot have your prayer room here, you cannot have it here, you cannot have it here, cannot have it here, cannot have it here.
Okay.
So in the southern hemisphere, this northern hemisphere is for gods, southern hemisphere is for devils.
Devils.
Right?
Yeah.
So you cannot have a priest and a don sitting in one room.
Definitely.
For example, this is the room for
bedroom.
Uranus.
Uranus.
Right? So
Yeah.
devil is here.
Yeah.
Now if you keep your prayer room here, what you have done is you have locked the don and the priest in one room.
Yeah.
So the priest cannot close his eyes and do prayers, because he fears that the don will hit him.
Hit him, definitely.
And the don cannot drink or eat whatever he wants, because he wants to respect the priest. So he is also not comfortable, and he is also not
Yeah.
so both become uncomfortable. So you cannot have your prayer room here.
Okay.
You get me?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay. So basically now we have understood the concept of prayer room, even where we can keep it in the house. Mr. Gyani, one question I would like
You
to
cannot keep the prayer room under the staircase.
Okay.
Right. Please do not keep your staircases under the staircase. And if on the ground floor you have your prayer room, say there are people who keep their prayer room under the staircase. Say this is the staircase. Right. And because they don't have the space, what they do is they keep their prayer room here. Right. Now you are going above the prayer room.
Yeah.
You cannot take a flight by putting your feet on the head of the god. So
Yeah.
this is again an unpardonable mistake that you may do.
Okay.
There are people who do this also, because they don't have a space. What they do is, supposing their staircase is like this, and this is the landing area, because they go like this, go like this, go like this.
Yeah.
What they do is they extend this landing area,
Okay.
right, and then they put a sliding door here. So they go like this, like this.
Okay.
Now the god is here on the landing area.
Yeah.
So this is, say this point is plus 10 feet and this is 0 feet. So somewhere here at 7 feet they put the god here.
Okay.
Now on the landing. So the god says, I gave you such a big house and you could not find space for me, that you kept me floating here, because this space is at 7 feet height, it's floating.
Yeah.
Right. So why do you want to keep me somewhere here? He is not happy. So
Okay.
you cannot again put your god in such a place where he is not going to be happy. Right. You cannot make him float. You give him some proper space so that he is happy and he rewards you, because he has rewarded with you a big house.
Yeah.
So you rather be rewarding him with some good space.
Definitely,
Right.
yeah.
So just because God cannot talk to you directly, you doesn't mean that you just put him or keep him wherever you
Anywhere.
want.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So that is one thing that you need to take care also.
Mr. Gyani, one question I would like to ask you. Likewise, you told us right now we can have a prayer room in the north side, but we cannot have a prayer room in the south. So, if someone is having a prayer room in the south, because now we are discussing about the science of home building. So, if they have a prayer room in the south, can we do some corrections for it?
You have to then find out a place. Say for example, you have your prayer room here
Yeah.
in the south.
Yeah.
And now you realize that you have put the God with the devils, with the evil,
Yeah.
and God is not happy with you, and you have n number of problems, and you think that maybe because we put the prayer room in the wrong place, God is not supporting us, and therefore we have problems.
Yeah.
And you want to now change the prayer room. Now you have to decide whether I have to keep the prayer room here or here. So you have to vacate this space, because
Okay.
something is here, of course.
Yeah.
So you have to vacate the space, and then you have to sprinkle holy water
Okay.
on this place for 7 days, twice a day.
Okay.
Any holy water can be sprinkled, and you can also light camphor twice a day
Okay.
in this area. Camphor is supposed to be very good for purification.
Okay.
So before taking God here, what you want is here or here or here. What you want is basically you need to purify this area. So for purification, camphor and holy water is supposed to be very good. So you do it for 7 days. And after 7 days, then you can bring the God here.
Okay.
Because you have given him the respect
Yeah.
that he wanted, and you have purified it with a good heart, the area, and then you say sorry to him, sorry to her, and then say, we now realize that we put you in the wrong place, we have purified this place, and we are taking you there. Please bless us and please pardon us. And once by this gesture, then you can take it there.
Okay.
So far, so good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes, friends, you also have to make sure that if your toilet is here on the ground floor and exactly above that on the first floor, if you have your toilet there, then it is again an unpardonable mistake that you are making. Friends, if you have your prayer room here and exactly above that prayer room, if you have your toilets, then again it is an unpardonable mistake that you are doing. You cannot have a toilet above the prayer room. You cannot be doing, you cannot be shitting over the prayer room. It is very simple. Now, having mentioned that, I must also tell you that there are designers who design duplex, who design bungalows in such a way that the toilet on the first floor will come right above the main door. That also is an unpardonable mistake. You cannot have a toilet on the main door of your house, on the main door of any building. Toilets are not allowed. You don't even know the importance of the main door. Main doors are supposed to be very, very pious and very, very important in the building structure, and therefore you cannot have toilets above the main doors. So you got to check out certain things before designing, and if you have these existing structures, you need to do something about that. There are corrections, like this lady Pia, when I was discussing the Y junction, she said, can we have the corrections for the Y junctions? Now, correction for the Y junction is a very, very difficult operation. It cannot be discussed on television.
Yeah.
So I could not give you that. You get my point?
Yeah.
It can never be discussed on television because it is a very difficult operation. Even for us, we are capable, competent to handle Y junctions. We are capable and competent to get your building out of the clutch of the snake's mouth. We can do this. We have done it successfully, but those operations cannot be discussed on television.
Definitely, Mr. Gyani. So, Mr. Gyani, after talking about all these things, now let's move on to the plants and trees. Where can we have them in our house?
Very good. I do not know much about plants and trees, Pia,
Yeah.
but I don't have the study of plants and trees, but what I know, whatever I know is always authenticated. Whatever I know is fundamental. And what I don't know, I am very happy to say that I don't know.
Yeah.
But whatever little I know about plants and trees is what I am going to tell you. But I must tell you that trees and plants play a very important role in the surroundings of your house, and that science is also a part of science of home building. However, I am not aware of that science, but whatever little I know, I would like to share it with you. For example, this is your house, right? And this becomes your west, and this becomes your south. This is your north, this is your east. Now this is sun. So sun rays are good for
A house.
ultraviolet rays,
Yeah.
UV rays. They are again good for human body.
Human body.
You're right, human consumption. Why water here? Because if
water
you
is
have
there.
water here, then the ultraviolet rays polarize this water in the mornings, and the polarized water is good for human consumption. That is why water here. It's all scientific. Now there are infrared rays in the west and southwest, right?
Yeah.
So the science says that you must have long trees
In the south.
in the south and in the west.
Okay.
Why? Because you want to safeguard yourself from infrared
Infrared
rays,
rays.
and after 12 in the noon, when the sun is here, it gives a lot of heat to the building. The sun does not travel like this.
Yeah.
Sun does not travel east to west. The sun travels from east to south to west. So this is going to be very, very hot after noon until 7, 8,
Eight.
depending on the season.
Yeah.
right? So what this gives is lot of heat. So what you do is you plant lot of tall trees here,
Okay.
so that you are safeguarded from that sunlight, heating sun, and you are also safeguarded from the infrared rays.
Okay.
So they say tall trees on the south and west, and plants on the north and
Northwest.
east.
Okay.
In the north and east, what do you want?
Plants.
You don't want long trees, because you don't want to block the sun rays in the morning.
Yeah.
You don't want to block the your
UV
ultraviolet rays in the morning, because the timings of UV rays and a good sunlight is until 9 in the morning.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then it starts changing. The UV rays will convert into slowly
Slowly
into
into
infrared.
infrared.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have plants here, trees. One more thing that I know is avoid all the plants and trees that have milk in them. So when you tear up a leaf or something, if there's a milk in it, then you need to avoid that, and you need to avoid thorny plants. All those plants that have thorns in it, cactus like
Rose plant.
rose is
Okay.
right, but otherwise all the plants that have thorns you have to avoid. Thorns and milk are to be avoided.
Okay. And Mr. Gyani, one question I would like to ask you again. Likewise, you have told us that we can have trees out here and plants over here. But if someone doesn't have space in their house and they plan to make a terrace garden, so how about that? Can we go for it?
I don't mind if they can manage the seepage and the leakage and waterproofing is good, they can go for it.
Okay.
But most of these terrace gardens eventually turn out to be very, very messy, because if once the roof starts leaking, then there is absolutely no treatment for that.
Okay.
Nothing really can stop the treatment, because water is going to find its way. Once it has found a way, it will still find its way.
Okay.
So terrace gardens, somebody who can manage it can have it. I don't mind. Rules will be the same.
And Mr. Gyani, one more question. Likewise, we have seen many houses. We have seen if we have a house out here, then most people can have a garden out here in the outer area of the house or at the back of the house. How's it? Can we have that?
I love gardens in the north. North light is soothing light.
Okay.
I love gardens in the east, because at 12 noon the sun has gone here.
Okay.
So this is
Good.
good, right? Now what happens is that after 12 in the noon, you can start enjoying this lawn.
Yeah.
What happens is, if you have your garden in the west, supposingly if you have your lawns in the west or in the south. Now what happens is, supposingly you have your lawns in the south and the west here. This
Yeah.
is your
Lawn.
Now what happens is, during the summers, you are waiting, seeing the watch 7:30. You tell your driver or you tell your gardener, sprinkle some water. So he's sprinkling water here, he's sprinkling water here. Again you go out, oh it's hot. Again you go out, it's hot. At 9:30 it gets cool.
Okay.
So at 9:30 you start your drinks here with your friends. So you wind up at what time? If you start at 9:30,
Very late.
you will wind up at 1:30.
Yeah.
So who will go to the office tomorrow?
Definitely.
You get me?
Yeah.
So if you had your garden in the east, so even if the sun is here, or here, this is a cool place. It's already shaded.
Yeah.
There is no light there.
Yeah.
And this is cool, because after 12:31 it is getting dark here.
Darker.
So it is cool. This is cool.
Yeah.
So you can start your party at 7:30, wind up at 9 and go to sleep and go to the office next day.
Yeah.
This area, most of the designers give garden in the southwest. They tell their clients that, well, this is a wind direction.
Okay.
So let us have the garden here. You will enjoy the party in the wind direction. But what wind? It is not wind, it is hot air.
Hot air.
And
Definitely.
8 months and 9 months, like countries like India, 9 months they are always heating up. You can't even sit there. You have to wait until 10 in the night to make it cool after
Definitely.
sprinkling so much water.
Yeah.
And then you start your party at 10. By the time you are dead tired, you want to go to sleep.
Definitely.
So you have to understand the directions to actually be designing. And this concept of designing is taught in the first year of architecture.
Okay.
But by the time they reach the 5th year, they forget it.
Okay.
आओ जाने समझे ज्ञान वास्तु शास्त्र